Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast once again, where today sitting in with me is Rizz and Troy Luccketta. Rizz is a singer-songwriter born and raised in Reno, Nevada. Been writing original music for more than 10 years now, and is now prepared to bring that raw emotion and rich musicality and a positive message to the masses. Troy, a veteran drummer, of course, spending 4 years in the Eric Martin band and 36 or so with Tesla. Troy also playing with the Guess Who and so many others. Rizz and Troy, part of a new band called Rizz and the Believerz. And on April 12th, Rizz and the Believerz release their debut single, Don't Stop Tryin'. It's hard to say it without singing it. Don't Stop Trying's coming out April 12th with a video. So, we're excited to see all of that and hear all of that and get it out to the masses. Guys, thanks so much for stopping in.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you for having us, brother. Appreciate the introduction. Very beautiful.
Very
Man,
much, Scott. Thank you.
absolutely, absolutely. You guys, this is something. This track, I was just saying, I can't sleep, man. It's an earworm. It's pretty. It's great. It's got a lot of different things. It's got a pop sensibility. It's a lot of reggae in there, a little bit of hip hop, and you get a little bit of the rock thing. It's everything. It's really spicy and flavorful. It's really cool. Um, I would imagine you have other material. I've heard that little birdies all over the place. You got some more stuff. What will we hear when we listen to Rizz and the Believerz and the rest of the material you have? Will we hear all of that? Will we hear even some more different things?
You're gonna hear a lot. You're gonna hear a lot of different things. Absolutely, Scott. There's so much with the players that we have and the background that they all have and the history from the music they've all played, and why I'm so grateful that I'm in the position and able to work with these guys. What they bring, and the music and the dynamics that this music is. There's a lot of different flavors that kind of stream throughout this whole album. We had stuff that at first me and Troy wondered if they're just one-offs. They're the completely left field and going, man, well, that's probably for later down the road. And as we've sat with some of them, they're starting to work together really well and still kind of keep the same consistent feel, but so differently. And so we got some stuff, and me kind of working with Dave Brainerd on a couple different songs, that are some beachy and ones that you might think is even in the country world. And we didn't even try to go country. It's just writing and it's the kind of the creative process just taking its course. And then yeah, you have the rock and roll legends that are bringing that that force to these things and really kind of punching you in the face with some of these guitar melodies, and then you got Troy Luccketta back there holding it down. So there's a lot of different stuff on this album, and it all works. And it's really exciting to start to see it, starting to listen to them together as a project. It's like me and Troy really have sat really intentionally listening and making some of these decisions and going, does that work? And yeah, it does work. And how about that with this one? Okay, well, now let's listen to this song and then let's go completely other side of the field, like back to back. And we're like, I think that works. What do you think? I think that works. So lots of different stuff, man.
Man, that's cool. How's that feel, Troy?
It feels excellent to me as I mean, you going back to, it's funny, I'm looking at that Montrose record on the back of your wall over there. And I was really fortunate. Ronnie, was a friend of mine in Gamma 4. I actually engineered and record, and I spent 6 weeks with Ronnie. So I'm coming from a real rock. Those are my roots, where I come from. But I always said I was never. I mean, when we were out on Tesla's out on the first tour, and we were out with Def Leppard on Hysteria,
Mhm.
and you got everybody just jamming all the rock and all the music, and here I'm blasting Neil Diamond. I mean, I come from a place of singer-songwriters. I grew up with the Motown music. I'm a music guy first. I was listening to Gino Vanelli. People are like, Gino Vanelli, really? And I'm like, yeah, man. I'm 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 a music guy. I love music. And so for me, it's just music. It's coming from a different place. I've never been involved with any kind of reggae music. I'm starting to get into the roots and the history now, and I really love that because I mean, I got my pad over there, and every morning I'm up at 5 a.m. and I'm doing my homework, man. I love where I'm at. I'm in a great place. I had a beautiful career with the band, and
Mhm.
now Jeff, our singer, Tesla, Jeff Keith and Rizz just recently got together, and Jeff's singing the song. I love that song. Troy is calling me up, telling me about it, and I hooked them up, and they got a hook. The whole thing is just really music with purpose. We've been talking about what we're creating here, and Rizz and I, it's so much deeper our lives of who we are as people and what we bring and what we want to do with the music. So that's what's exciting to me.
Yeah.
And musically, I get to really, kind of explore a lot of different things and some different stuff, and I'm not stuck in a box. So it's pretty cool. I'm digging it.
Yeah, yeah, and you talk about that and your love for music, and I'm the same way. I just had a French jazz singer on, so I mean, it reaches All Music magazine. It goes everywhere, and it had to be difficult to be in that box, like you say, playing. It's phenomenal music, but it's the same music all the time, and when you have a rich tapestry of taste it's hard to keep that at bay, I would imagine. So in 2021 you leave and your obligations are not there, so you can explore. Is this what you had in mind? The exploring, like this is a real exploration. It's a big departure from what you were doing. Is that kind of what you had in mind?
Well, Riz and I started before, um, the pandemic, and I got introduced to him through my son. My son was working with him, and after we had worked together and spent 3 weeks together, and I already knew what I knew about Riz. I'm like, I know this kid's a superstar. I know that. I know that's who he is, and I hope I could be part of his journey and be blessed in that way because we had some synergy that came together with the two of us. And going through that process, the 3 weeks we're together, and then you got shut down with COVID, and calling him back 2 years ago and saying, "Hey, what do you think?" And getting to Nashville, fast forwarding, it was always something that I thought about and wanted, but I didn't know at the time with Tesla. I mean, just because of the pandemic, I think God bless the pandemic because a lot of great things have come out of it, and it gave me the ability to step back a minute and be at home and think about those kind of choices that I was making. And so, absolutely, this is was something you know that was there, it got shut down, and it just got refired back up. I didn't know that it would take the course that it took, but as fate would have it, here we are.
Yeah, it's cool, and the discovery of you, Riz, is really, really great. I hear Troy Jr. talking about, going out to see you and just hooking up with you and writing and everything, and getting all of this stuff down and working with you. Tell me a little bit about that and how all of this came together because now you have it started as you two really
Mhm.
um, Junior and Riz, and then uh, it branches out and you have this all-star band of great musicians that are contributing to what you were focused on. How does that all come together? How do you get everybody involved?
Well, I certainly, didn't plan it. I can tell you that. I wish I had those kind of powers, man. It's just divine, really. I feel that it's just divine, and that's why I just, it keeps me going and keeps me motivated and by being humble and being grateful for that I've made it to this point and, gearing up for this release. But it's funny, I had a store that I was working at with my mom in Reno called Vibes Up is my family shop. And when that's where I was selling my mixtapes and I was playing my music. So if you ever walked into my store, you're listening to my music and all this stuff that I had recorded at the time, and they were kind of all demos. I thought they were done. But once you get into with Lucckettas, and they're like, oh no, we're gonna bust these things wide open. I know where you're headed, but let me, get on this canvas with you. So me and my mom were working, and it was funny because a lady had come in that had somehow known about Troy through some of events that he had done and known about his son, and had kind of said, hey, I really think she like kept blowing me up. And I didn't even know who she was, this beautiful lady, Karen. And she was like, I really want to introduce you, and I think you should work with, Troy Jr., and I think it's going to be wonderful for you. And I'm like, I really don't know who this girl is. She came into town and I met her at my shop. And after that, I remember going, okay. And she was like, I know this might sound crazy, but you just have to do this and you should reach out. And so I ended up reaching out to Troy Jr. I had never really paid for any kind of session. I've never really, put I always just did it in my own house, in my bedroom, built my studios at my house and recorded myself. I'd set myself up to where I could just run my own vocal booth and really dial my sound in. And once I had, so Troy Jr. was really the first time I had really did a more serious transaction for services, so to speak, and going, all right, I think like I got a couple songs and let's see what comes from this. And so I remember I drove down to the Bay Area, showed him some music, and that's kind of where we started out. And me and Troy, he felt like an older brother to me. He reminded me of my older brother. And, me and him got along super well and connected. And he kind of came from more of, being a little bit younger than Troy, obviously. He understood my world a little bit from hip hop, and he was in the Bay Area, and we liked a lot of similar artists. And so he's like, cool, I like this vibe. But he ended up, getting sick with like a tumor in his ear. And so after we spent weeks together and we really kind of vibed and started making some progress on this EP we started with, um, he called in Troy Sr. and said, hey, Troy wanted to come down and check on him. He just got out of a surgery. And we were, Troy kind of, that's how Troy Sr. got involved. He's like, Dad, I want you to help me with this. And it was just kind of all came together in that fashion. So both of them, for me, it was kind of weird. It was like their chosen family, the way that we connected and felt once we got together. It was like, oh yeah. And being able, for me, what was really honestly the coolest part was I got to see Troy Jr. and Troy Sr. work together and be a part of a project together. And I'm like, whoa, that was the first this is bigger than the music moment for me when I got to see Junior and Senior together, sitting on the boards going like, what do you think, Dad? And like, oh yeah, oh, great job, son. I love your taste on that, or what good idea. And going like, whoa, this is cool. And I think it was cool for all of us to be able to experience that where it started, and being able to have that bond and that relationship and that their family coming together. It was special.
Yeah, and it had to be special for you, Troy. This is pretty great getting to work with the son, on material that, is a little bit foreign to you, and you get to explore all of that. And, tell me, when you get these other guys come in, it's probably this music's probably a little bit foreign to them too. I would think, and they're worldly guys. These are top-notch musicians. Was there any hesitation from them, or like reservation where, I don't, I've never played this kind of stuff. Let's see how we fit.
I'll visit both parts of that conversation. First on my son, um, I want to say that yeah, it's this is a pleasure to be working together at this stage of my life. I had missed so much of you know time with him growing up, being out on the road and being gone. So I'm hoping that this will even bring us closer together, more time as it becomes successful, and can bring us both together more and spend more time. So for that part of it, it's a huge deal because of the loss of that you can't get back over that time. So it's been wonderful because we do have we're constantly working, and he's so active with everything, and him and Rizz have such a special bond. And so yeah, that part of it means everything to me. Bringing the band in and what happened, and when I was with the Guess Who, Michael Devon and Michael Sterito, the guitar player and bass player, I got to know. I ended up doing like, about 7 months worth of dates, about 35 shows with those guys. And it was really clear to me, at my age and where I'm at in life. And like I told Rizz when we brought him out, I said, Rizz, I says, got the finest guys here in Nashville, man. We can knock this thing out in a heartbeat. It might not be exactly what we want, but they'll sell you on everything. And knowing you're going to love everything and you'd be fine. I know where Rizz was at the time, but I had this other idea and thought, thinking like, well, I didn't think it was what we would be really wanting for me in terms of what I could bring to the table. And if I could come up with a band, something original and try to contribute, the Bullet Band, Bob Seger,
Right.
when you think of, the Revolution or whoever that band is, the Heartbreakers, there's a sound that goes with that. And that's what I was looking to do that's where the Believerz came in. And when I was out on the road, I had talked to Michael. First, I was working with John Salloway, who's a local guy, puts out great records in Nashville. And but while I was out there with Michael, I started with Michael Sterito and learned about his history, because he spent 10 years with Lou Gramm, and
Right.
and he's from Rochester. And I just was looking for guys that would, it had to have the whole picture. There's a lot of great players everywhere, but there's personalities, there's magic, and there's, and we just kind of got real lucky with this process going through these guys because they were the dream team and the pick. I always wanted to work with Michael Devon as a bass player. Love his playing. I've always been a fan of his.
Yeah.
And so now we had the nucleus, and the way Peter Keys got involved, he had this song called "Give It a Go," and I think it's "Give It a Go," isn't it, Riz?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has like this like a Freebird long jam at the we're almost a jam band too when you hear the rest of the record. There's a lot of great jams on the record. And this particular jam reminded me of Freebird. And at the time, I was talking to Rizz about it, and Peter Keys had called me for another project, and we had been talking about maybe doing something. And then I said, "Well, hey, yeah, maybe I could help you out. Maybe we could, maybe you could check out this artist I'm working with, Rizz." And everything just came together, and they all became fans and believers, and that's really, as we put the music together, it was real clear to me that we had something really special and unique. And that's all you could hope for, because I already had the artist who's special and unique. But if we can create a sound behind him that has that same uniqueness and non-pretentious, and
Right.
it's just turned out to be exactly that.
Yeah, and the music really elevates that voice. And I haven't heard too much of it, and it's frustrating. I got to tell you, I hear that vibrato, and it's just I want to hear you sing out, man. I really want to hear it. I want to hear more. It's great, and like I say, that band elevates all of that. It highlights that voice. It's really great, and it's patient. There's you can tell it's top notch because all of these guys are playing to the song. Nobody's trying to stand out, or it is all very patient. And reggae music and that kind of thing is a very patient thing, and it really it works here. It really works here. The writing process has it changed when getting these guys involved? It was Junior and Rizz. Has that changed at all? Are more people getting involved in the writing process?
The writing process has been a unique one, as far as the music, because it's kind of come together naturally and also still and kind of so and I don't want to say all over the place, but just kind of like how we've been in such a discovery mode for this first album. It was so Troy just trying to find it and know what it is and who, if these guys were in or if they did really want to be in, and also, how they could fit themselves in by standing outside and saying, he'd come into sessions and he'd be like, do you? What do you want to play? Play it. I don't want to tell you what to do because then I'm telling you what to play. I want you to play it how you hear it, and then I'll come back and do my thing afterwards. And that was really cool. And everybody, he's kind of allowed everybody to have their own really moment. And we'll get stuff to Peter Keys and he'll send us back a couple different takes, and then we go through it and figure out what that is. Devin comes in and he'll sit with he'll sit with that and he dives in and does Devin. And we want Devin to bring Devin. We want Stairtoe to bring Stairtoe. We want Salloway to bring Salloway. And, for everybody, one of us to bring our thing. And then it's kind of like, all right, people will leave. And then it's like, I do my thing and God bless Troy because he's up at 3 a.m. scratching his head going, how do I go through all of this? And I'll sit with him on quite a bit of it. And, when it comes to certain situations and things that he feels that it's necessary, sometimes it's better than I'm not there. I've learned that, as a vocalist, like you don't want to be in a comping vocal session. That'll tear you apart and you'll start to feel like you can't even sing, man. You know what I mean? You're like, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
But if you were to hear it, you let some people, you put your takes down, you let it happen, and then you come back to it. And that's really what this has been. Like you said, I really like how you said patience. Boy, is it hard. It is so hard,
Sure.
but so necessary. And this music too. Like, so thank you for really saying that because Troy is really over and over, like, tried to implement that. And I'm just like, who's good at patience? He's like, Rizz, you gotta just be patient with me, And even I think people in the band, we've had these songs built up. We've sent them in. Everyone's kind of liked it. And then it's like, breaking it back down, building it back up. And like, I'm being the artist going like, I just want my music out there, man. I liked it how it was. Like, do we really need to, and it's kind of had me kind of, it's sometimes going like, oh, are we doing too much? You can do that too. You can think too much into it. Sometimes you got to let it be. And I feel that we've done a good job, me and Troy, working together on some of those decisions and saying, are we good? I'm good. Could we go more? Yeah, we could. We know we both could, but let's let this be. Let's let this still feel organic and not overcombed and combed through, he's had to deal with a lot of different tracks. So this first phase is kind of where we're at right now as far as moving forward. I think we have a little bit better idea and people and everybody does, and now they know, and I think we're starting to step more into something. I'm really excited to see where the writing's going to go. For right now, it's been what it's been, but moving forward, who knows what's to come, Scott?
Man, that's and Troy, you gotta, here's a young guy, and sounds like a veteran already. You've been through all that, right? You know what it takes to make a record. To putting it aside, bringing it back, putting it aside, bringing it back. All of that patience thing. It's got to be pretty cool to hear, your young singer here. Realizing all of that and discovering it, and being humble and being patient. It's got to be a pretty cool thing to watch.
Well, it is. Not only, I mean, Rizz is an old soul, that was very apparent to me. And I discovered while working together just the greater talent that is there, and how deep he is as an individual. I mean, that's I think what works so well together with us. The I'm in Nashville where you can do a record, 24 hours, right? I mean, it's crazy what people do in Nashville. I'm in Florida right now, but point being, I live in Nashville, and that's where we're working. But and then you come from Mutt Lange, who might take 4 years to put out a Def Leppard record. So, where's the balance and all that? So my job, I feel, it's just to get in and explore, try everything, let it all happen. And like Rizz says, we've been able to find it through the process and let the process happen. You got to be patient with it. And, the one thing I learned with Rizz is he is patient and he has trust and he sees the value. He understands it. It's taken a couple years of him hearing and seeing from a lot of different people. And I know there's been a lot of people that's had his ear in a lot of different ways that he's had time to think it through. And and I think we're just getting to that place where we're like, okay, I think we got a pretty good handle on what we're doing moving forward, and the process. For me, I mean, I've never been one to be very patient. I've learned that. That's something that I got sober 30 years ago, and through that process, I've learned how to kind of do life, with a set of tools that I didn't have. So all of that contributes to where I'm at to make and help make these decisions. I can't trust myself to make these decisions. Riz and I sit there. It's amazing to me what we do with just the two of us. We regularly have to bring in a third party to think about decisions that are being made. This record, I mean, I live it 24/7. My studio's in my house. I wake up 3, 4 in the morning. Boom, I'm going to be up editing. I mean, it's okay. I'm an early guy. I go to sleep late. I like where I'm at. I like, what I've learned. And what's clear to me, I told her is, I says, I've been fortunate to work and record and play with a lot of music over the years. And through that process and produce and I've had 5 recording studios. So I've had everybody from Third Eye Blind to Tower of Power to Greg Kinn to Testament in my studios and more. And point being, having a studio, learning everything I've learned over the last 40 plus years and touring has all brought me the experience to where I can finally really do what I believe that I am called to do what I'm doing right now. I didn't choose this. It chose me. And I really believe that. And I believe I didn't know I could even do at the level I'm doing because Rizz and I have a partnership called Blessings and Love. It's an LLC. And in that company, we got, all it's the umbrella over our other companies. And learning that, oh, wow, we're the record company, we're everything. We got to hire these people. How are we going to do this? It's just been a process. It's usually you have a manager and you got the company, record company, and they
Right.
make all those decisions for you. But well, Riz, I says, I says, we have been called. God has not just blessed us with this. He has blessed us with the ability to say, look, you have a brain. No, I'm not going to just turn it over here and everything's going to get done for you. Those doors have not been open in a way that has forced us to be accountable to what we've created. Now figure out how to bring it to the world. And we're figuring it out, man, one day at a time. It's not something that we would have been able to figure out, boom, if it was just all dumped on us right then and there. So the process, you have to be patient. You have to acknowledge it. You have to embrace it, and you have to live it. And that's what we do. I'd made a choice to live this thing and say, no, I'm not doing anything else. This is it. This is my last stop. This is where I belong. This is where I stay. Riz doesn't deserve 95% of me. He deserves 120 plus percent of me. This is what he needs. This is what I need in my life. And I'm at a place where I can do it, you know.
It's just, I hear this and, it fills me up emotionally, obviously. It's great. And, I want to touch on that a little bit. When I listen to reggae in particular, it's a spiritual, it usually has a spiritual feel or a lyrical spiritual, there's some spirituality to the music. And this has reggae, your music has touches of reggae in it, of course, with other things. But I know, Troy, you're strong in your faith. Um, Riz, I've read the press release, and I know you found a spiritual path after the loss of your sister. This music, I expect that it will be very uplifting, and it will have a sharp spiritual edge to it. Would I be correct in saying that?
Oh yeah. I mean, to me, that's what it is, man. It's that's why we call it music with purpose, as people we feel called, to to open people, enlighten people, enlighten through our expression, of through the music, to remind people of how special we are and, how beautiful this life is and the power of being kind and the power of believing and the power of our voices and all that we do. We are also special and also unique, and we all bring something special to this world. And I think that through the just through life, we forget, and we get dumbed down, or we get suppressed of just our emotions. It's like you gotta just it's we live in such an overstimulation, and we have lost touch with most importantly each other. And so that's why our goal is to build a community through Rizz and the Believerz and create a believers community to get people back in tune with each other and themselves, and whatever source it is, that higher source, because it is a spiritual movement. That is how I sing. That is where I feel most connected. That is how I feel I can help people connect to whatever it is that they're searching for. And so that's kind of what I've always really tried to, on all these interviews, and when we talk and when I'm talking with Troy and just everybody, I'm like, my emphasis is on, the movement and the purpose, the message, the message to the music and the feeling. If I can't feel it, if we can't feel it, you can't explain a feeling. There's no words to that, that's why music is the universal language, and everybody understands it and feels it without having to explain it. That's why concerts are so moving and why they change the world. And that's why we chose music as a conduit, because it is our way to bring people together, to unify people through what we love to do. What a cooler way. What an amazing way to live, and how blessed are we? Absolutely. So it is very spiritual. It's much more deeper. I don't want to just be, up there to look good and see me on a big screen. That doesn't fill me up. What fills me up is feeling change, is feeling people open up and their hearts opening up to whatever that may be. And that's when we create a real positive movement. And that is why I feel like we are being bold, why we'll come up and we're stepping into the light, so to speak, and we are owning it, and we're here now. And it's like, you know what? It's time. It's time that the world needs something that brings this together. And I know that we are not alone. I know that. I know that people are ready. I know there's other beautiful artists out there that are feeling the same thing and when I say artist, that's not just music, the art of life. Again, I'm going to get crazy and deep with you, but we all bring an art. People that are teaching in our schools, there's an art to teaching. There's an art to what you do, brother. There's an art for you to allow us a platform to where we can explain what we're doing. So as long as we all can start to feel that, now we can be inspired and find the deeper purpose to what we're doing. You're not just a bus driver. You're transporting people to get to where they need to go to create this change. We're all a part and equally as important as one another. And that is what we're here for. That's the deeper message behind this.
That's a beautiful thing, man. It really is. It's powerful. It's a powerful message. And I can't wait to hear the rest of this message. Really, I'm
It's
so
fun.
excited, man. I'm so excited. When will we see it? When will we see a Rizz and the Believerz release of any kind? Will it be a full length album? Will it be an EP? Some singles? How are we going to do this?
April 12th, Don't Stop Trying's coming out. We're 3 weeks away, man. We are
Yep.
3 weeks away from today. You get to, immerse in the world of Rizz and the Believerz. We're going to open that door up for you, the Don't Stop Trying movement. Join the movement. The world will never be the same after, April 12th. I'm excited for that. We've worked really hard on this. We've cultivated a lot of beautiful things. That it will start it off. We're going to take it single by single. We're going to feel out how the people resonate, and we don't know, but we know that we have lots of great music for you. As far as an album, we're going to go with the full length for you guys, and it's going to depend on how everybody responds to each single is what's going to determine how we want to start to roll out we're thinking a couple singles coming your way, and then we'll give you an album. But I think me and Troy have learned that we don't, we're still in that just letting this thing kind of unravel how it wants to, and we're going to respond, but we have a plan. And that starts with April 12th. Don't Stop Trying on all platforms. Rizz and the Believerz, Believers with a Z. We have our YouTube, we got our Facebook, all different platforms. We have a wonderful distribution through Selecto Hits, who's phenomenal. And so we have worldwide distribution, and we plan on giving you guys a cool album with the vinyl available as well. And that should hopefully be later this year. Again, I don't want to put a hard date on anything because it's up to the people, man. Whatever you guys, however this turns out,
Man, that's just so cool.
I'll tell
And
you,
what was that, Troy?
I was going to mention that, yeah, the website will be coming out too, which is going to be loverizz.com. Even it's the Rizz and the Believerz, but Love Rizz, it's easier for people to get there for an address, and it's
Right.
part of Blessings and Love, which is our LLC. And I wanted to mention that
The video.
we also, yeah, the video will be coming out as well. I wanted to mention, some of the things that have been brought to our attention because we're learning as a record company now because we have to take that responsibility and really think those things through. And we're learning about what it is and what it isn't. So we don't have all those answers, and that's fair to say why we put it out there. Like, yes, I think it will be determined, but we have come up because we have the reggae side of it, and people go, "Oh, is it just reggae?" No, but we have a half a dozen plus songs right now for an EP that we think we're going to go ahead and go to get out. That'll probably come out before the record, I have a feeling. And it might be a live stream. It might be a live. We're getting ready to wrap up our heads around that and figure that out too. So there's going to be something out soon. We just the Sugar Shack. We just played the stage. If you look up the Sugar Shack sessions, you'll find that we just did the Reggae Rise up here in Florida on the Sugar Shack stage, and they recorded us. It was a three-piece, myself, Rizz, and John, and we did 5 songs, and that's coming out in about 8 weeks. So there's going to be a lot of stuff on your see. We're going to be playing. You're going to catch stuff live. You're going to be starting to hear things, that will give you great teasers and an insight to the record.
That's cool. You mentioned that Sugar Shack gig, and that was like a reggae festival. Uh,
Yeah.
Tough Gong. I see the Tough Gong recording in the studio. How cool is that? What did you do there? Is that, will we see any other stuff from that session?
Yeah, if you go on our YouTube, there's the Don't Stop Trying with Troy and Squidly Cole, who's another legend himself, legendary drummer, 14-time Grammy musician, worked with, lots of amazing people from Amy Winehouse to Stephen Marley, Ziggy Marley. I think he did the world tour in '93. We met him here in Nashville with Stephen Marley on their tour, the Old Soul tour, when he was doing his Old Soul album that just came out. That's phenomenal. Um, and we met him, and we really hit it off, kind of went into a freestyle, and he's beatboxing and I'm freestyling because he came out and met Troy and was a big fan, and turned into this jam session in the waiting room. And all of a sudden he's like, "You come to Jamaica, we take you to Bob Marley's studio, we make music. Me and Troy, we drummers, we like to drum, we'll have some fun." I'm like, wow. We get in the car and I'm
So cool.
like, what? We ended up, connecting with him throughout the next couple of weeks, sent him some music. He loved it. Next thing you know, we're in Jamaica. We fly into Kingston, Jamaica. We stay in the heart right next to Trenchtown. We stayed out there, and we brought, I think, half a dozen songs, 5 or 6 songs out. We wanted to create him. Troy said, "I want you to do all the percussive, whatever it is, you do it." Again, Troy completely stepped back. And there's times where I know he wanted to, and he was fighting urges, but he was like, "If we come to Jamaica, we want the Jamaican sound. We want you to do." Again, I don't want to tell you how to drum. No, you show me what this is. I don't know this world. And that was really cool to watch because he even did some vocal arrangements. We had 3 students come in from the from the music school that did some BGV, some backup vocals. We also had another girl that came in from the music school that did some steel pan on a song, and Squidly did some arrangements. And there was things, and I'm like, what are they, that's an interesting way of approaching that background. Or okay, why are you making these choices? But instead of me saying I want you to do this, or I would, oh, let me sing it that way, we kind of looked at each other and we're like, no, let's let them bring their element, their culture to our sound. Let's make a merge. And that was just like another spiritual experience. Me being a big Marley fan for all my life that I can remember. Um, it was a dream come true. And I thought it was really cool to see Troy being able to, get his respects and also get to collaborate within that culture. And I think we learned a lot from that, because even in the midst of him creating all the percussives, stepping back at the last day and hearing it, with that set of fresh ears, was like, whoa. And now, 4 months later, however long it's been, listening to those choices again, going, yeah, that is really cool. So yeah, it was a really magical experience. Would hope to be back at some point when the time's right. But for now, we got some things out of it that bring a new, fresh element to the sound that's really from the roots of the music.
Man, that's cool. Yeah, Troy, you've been doing a lot of different things for a long time. That had to be another different thing for you, wasn't it?
Well, it was easy for me. It was all about just kind of, like I told Rizz, I said, look, myself and John, the three of us went, John Salloway, and I said, we're not, we can have no voice here. I mean, we really need to just, we want Squidly to do what Squidly does. I had already played the percussion. I muted all the percussion. I told him I wanted him to redo all the percussion, which he did. And it really brought an authenticity to what we were doing, and you could hear it. And once he brought the girls in, I mean, it just kind of raised the bar, and it added that extra little bit of flavor for a little bit more authenticity. Putting the steel pan in there, which is I mean, we some of our stuff is very island-ish, I mean, it's you know we could do a lot of these songs in that setting, but we have full electric versions of these songs as well. But you're going to see both sides of that coin. But no, for me it was an experience to just step back and just let it happen, take its natural course, and watch Squidly, who's freaking a genius. He's phenomenal. I mean, you can't teach what he does. I mean, he is the music. We talked about that, Rizz and I. It's not like you don't play that music. I mean, you either are or you aren't. And when you go to Jamaica and you have that experience with those musicians, they are. And that's what was so beautiful, to just watch him bring that culture into our music, that we were doing it, and just kind of, we got, I think, a half a dozen songs we did, and we will do more work. I didn't want to phone it in. I didn't want him phoning it in. I wanted to go. I wanted us to be there. I wanted us to experience what it's like, and then to see their culture and their country, and the poverty that surrounds it. And I mean, it was deep. It was an education for all of us, and a humbling education. And all the things that we could take for granted. You go there for a minute and you think different coming back, But no, it was a beautiful experience.
That's
Especially the strength and the beauty in the people coming from such poverty. That was what really, how that their message comes from what they've gone through and what they go through and how they live. I was like, wow, it's really eye-opening. That's what I think. You learn a lot, and I feel that it's like one of the experience I wish everybody could experience.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it's funny. My daughter just went to South Africa and visited a school that was really, all the kids walk for 5 miles through rivers, and they eat once or twice a week. It was really, but she said they were the most loving, most happy kids that she's ever experienced. You
Yeah.
know, she learned so much
Yeah.
about the human spirit by seeing something like that. And, it changes you for sure. It does. Uh, I want to respect your time. I so appreciate you guys. I so appreciate the music throughout the years. It's just a thrill. I can't wait for this record and all of the stuff you got coming. It's exciting. And I noticed my friend Luis Espaillat played with you. That was way cool. I watched the morning show. I think it was a morning show that you guys did. There's Luis. I said, "Wow, that's cool too." Great guy, great bass player. It was cool to see him. Very cool.
Espaillat. We love Mr. Espaillat.
Yeah,
Absolutely. He's a
We
wonderful
do.
man.
yeah, he's way cool. Yeah. So, you guys are doing it all. Um, it's coming very, very soon.
3 weeks, April 12th. Don't stop trying. Join the movement.
Very cool, man. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Doors always open. Please come back. Touring. I want to ask you about that before we go. Uh, when all of this is happening, and depending on the success, is there a tour? Will we see? Is that something you'd like to do?
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna let that kind of determine on how it's received and what comes to play. Everything's kind of naturally starting to come together. We just did a, kind of a mini tour in Florida. We just got back from the Reggae Rise Up, Sugar Shack stage. We love those guys. Thank you. And we're open. We want to make the right choices. We want to do some things that make sense. And I definitely feel strongly that something that makes sense is going to be happening. We got some feelers out there, and absolutely, we're going to come out and play some music for you guys. So, we'll just have to see how that works out. There's nothing set in stone at this exact time.
Okay, Troy, you ready to hit the road a little bit again?
Yeah, man. My surfboard, man. I can get a surfboard. I got a little Volkswagen. I'm ready to go, man. Let's do this.
Rock and roll, baby.
I love it, man. You guys, thank you so much. It's
Thanks,
been a
Scott.
blast. Yeah, please come back.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. We'll love
Thanks
to
for
be
having
back.
us, Scott.
All
Yeah,
right.
love to be back. Thanks, Scott. Don't
All
stop
right.
trying, baby.
You got it, man. Take
All
care.
Have a great day.
Thanks,
See ya.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.